Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video. Today's lesson will be on SMTs, and we're going to be focusing specifically on higher time frame SMTs. So getting right into the charts, you can see on the top here, we have the S&P, and on the bottom we have NASDAQ. And both indices here are on the 1 hour time frame, which we will be working on in the entirety of this lesson. So in terms of just identifying an SMT, on the top we can see that ES came down and made this hourly swing low and then came back down and failed to make that lower low. On the bottom, when we look at NASDAQ's hourly chart, we see this hourly swing low, but we see NASDAQ successfully making this lower low before both indices, as we can see as well, expand higher. So that discrepancy between one index making a lower low and one index not making a lower low is the Kraken correlation, or the market tipping its hand to you that a potential reversal could be incoming. So as we continue through this video, we're going to start to blend some concepts on top of just identifying an SMT and how we can really use it to our advantage and understand where price is likely to go. So if we're bullish, which we are going to be in the rest of this video, we need to know that smart money will be doing their buying below the weekly open, which, as you can see here, I have labeled Sunday open on the top and Sunday open on the bottom. Now we can see, where is this SMT occurring? It's occurring below both of those weekly opens on both ES and NASDAQ. So if we see an SMT occurring below the weekly open, that's added confluence, and we can really start to study and have confidence in these SMTs in terms of a potential reversal if we start to see it come into fruition. So now you can see we can continue to refine our confidence in an SMT and where that SMT is occurring. So we just mentioned Sunday open, and now we can look at the daily open, which I have labeled midnight opening price and midnight opening price on NASDAQ as well. Okay, and we can see that the SMT is taking place below both of those levels on both indices. So Sunday open, midnight open. This failure on ES to make this lower low is occurring below midnight opening price as well as Sunday opening price. Same down here with NASDAQ. So we can start to kind of check off the boxes when we start to see that potential SMT come into play. Because we know as well, smart money is going to want to be doing their buying below midnight opening price for that daily session. Now, if we identify a potential SMT that occurred below both the weekly open and the daily open, then we can start to say, okay, what could price be reaching for? Then we would just look for session liquidity. So in this case, we have clear previous day high, clear buy side liquidity in terms of the high that was formed the previous day. So this right here today, at the time of recording this, this is a Wednesday. So this is Tuesday's high. And we can see that ES after the SMT, below midnight open, below Sunday opening price, expanded to go purge that buy side. On the bottom here, you would obviously want to see NASDAQ play catch up to its respective previous day high, okay? Now this next slide is important because we know for the best setups, and especially with SMTs, we want to see some form of manipulation. So you can see with the annotations that I've just added to both S&P on the top here and NASDAQ on the bottom, we had the low of the London session for Wednesday session. So look here, midnight opening price. This is Wednesday's session. Everything after that, London session, we make this low, then we come down and purge it on both indices. And this is where we get an SMT as well. So if we see a clear sell side liquidity pool rated that serves as a session low, in this case because we are bullish, then it's more added confluence in the confidence we can have in an SMT. Okay, guys, and now zooming out, we want to talk about an SMT into a key reference point or a KRP. So I removed some of the annotations on the chart on both S&P and NASDAQ, but just recall everything that we spoke about up to this point in the video remains true. All we did was zoom out. We're still analyzing the same fractal of price, okay? But now when we zoom out, as we can see, we've had this BISI here and this BISI here. And we've graded this BISI with the quadrants. So if you look on the right side, we have the 25%, the 50%, and the 75%. of both ES's BISI and NASDAQ's BISI. And what can we gain from this? This SMT on NASDAQ, we're coming down to make this lower low, but where are we going? Into that upper quadrant. By extension of that, if we're bouncing and finding temporary support off the lower quadrant of this BISI, the algorithm is telling you it doesn't want to go lower than there. And that's a signature. Failure to reach 50%, 75% of course by extension, and just completely fill and deliver to the low of an inefficiency, that's a signature of strength. So look at, of course, the SMT. Everything we spoke about is already high confidence for this SMT. But look at after we tap it, look at the reaction of the wick, and then look at all the bodies here closing above and failing to even reach for the 25% or upper quadrant for this hourly BISI here on NASDAQ. Look at the top here on the S&P. Very similar, but kind of a different order that occurred. Earlier in the week, right, we came down and tapped 25%, and we got that same signature, failing to reach 50% of the inefficiency. We're getting bullish signatures of strength. Then what do we do today? While NASDAQ is going down to give smart money that Kraken correlation and show us this signature that we already discussed on NASDAQ, ES is showing us right at the high here. Look at how we're barely coming into, and I'm not sure in the exact levels here, but it looks like a tick or two into this hourly BISI, and the bodies are closing right at the high here. Then what do we get after that? Immediate rebalance, expansion. Previous day high, like we mentioned already earlier in the video. So SMTs are a very powerful tool, especially in terms of some of the concepts which we will discuss going forward with weekly profiles, day of week. SMTs can really give us an idea of when the low of a week or high of a week will be formed on top of all the things that we discussed in this video.